My name is Ayla, and today we're going to be looking at major and minor chords and how to build your ear so strong so that you can hear the difference between the two, because almost all music is built using major or minor chords, and I think it's incredibly important to really have a solid understanding of what makes a chord major, what makes a chord minor, and how to tell them apart. One reason it is so important to be able to hear the difference between major and minor chords is because the overall feeling and emotion of a piece of music is really determined by whether a chord is major or minor. And I'll give you an example. I'll play a chord progression, and the third chord I play will be major. And then I'll play that same chord progression where that same third chord is minor, and you'll probably hear a really profound difference just in the overall character of what that piece of music sounds like. So here's a major chord. That was a major chord. Now I'm going to make it minor. So I don't know about you, but I personally thought those two chord progressions had a very different feeling to them. And that was just by making that last chord major versus minor. And it totally changed the overall character of it. So if you don't know the difference between a major and a minor chord, I'm going to show you right now. So this right here is an A major chord. And the important thing to note is any major chord is built from something called the Major Triad, which is basically just three notes: the root, the major third, and the fifth. And all those numbers are referring to are intervals, basically the distance between these notes. This is a major third interval, this is a fifth. Now, if this sounds like a foreign language to you and you have no idea what I mean, that's no worries at all. I think the main focus here is to just see if you can hear and start picking out some of the differences in what a major chord sounds like versus a minor chord. And hopefully you'll start to internalize at least some of the theory. I'm sort of planting the seeds of understanding that will hopefully one day blossom into a wonderful tree of knowledge. So it's up to you to determine what a major chord feels like for you, but generally people describe major chords as being brighter or happier sounding. And another thing I want to reiterate, this major triad is the basis for any major chord. So whether I'm playing a bar chord like this, or an open chord, or even another voicing of a major bar chord, those chords all contained the exact same notes. They all contained just those three notes found in the major triad. So just to further demonstrate what a major chord sounds like, I'm just going to play a whole bunch of major chords in a row. All right, so now I'm going to show you what makes up a minor chord. And that might actually help you further understand what a major chord is, because you can compare and contrast the two. So a major chord, like I said, is built from the major triad, 1, 3, 5. A minor chord is built from the minor triad. And the only thing that changes between major and minor is what the third is doing. The third determines whether something is major or minor. So for example, if I take this third, this major third, and I flatten it by 1, it becomes a minor third. So the minor triad is 1 flat 3 or minor third. Those mean the same thing. And then fifth interval, just like in the major triad. And like I said before, it's up to you to figure out what a minor chord and minor triad feels like to you personally, but a lot of people seem to think that minor triads and minor chords feel a little darker, a little sadder. So what the difference is, here's a major chord. Within this chord, I'm actually flattening the third like I did in the triad. And even if you have no idea what I just said, you might be able to hear that the second chord, the minor chord, sounds a little darker, maybe a little sadder. And now I'm just going to play a bunch of minor chords in a row, so you can hopefully start to internalize what those sound like and feel like. So even though I just played a whole bunch of different minor chords there, just to reiterate, again, they're all built from the same type of triad, the minor triad. All right, so now we've arrived at the most important part of the video, which is strengthening and building your ear. You can take a sheet of paper out, get a pencil or a pen, and write down your answers. I'm going to play a bunch of chords. And it's just up to you to guess whether they're major or minor. Don't worry about whether it's an A major or a B major. Just figure out if it's major or minor and try your best and see what happens. So just so you know what to expect in this fun little quiz, I'm going to play a chord for you. And it's up to you to guess whether it's major or minor. Just think about, does it sound happy? Does it sound sad? And that will help you determine whether it's major or minor. And that chord I just played is a major chord. So keep that in mind as we begin the quiz. All right, so here is number 1. Does this sound like a major chord or a minor chord? Take a little time to think about it. Pause the video if you need to. The answer is major. That was actually a C major chord. All right, here is number 2. What chord does this sound like? Is it major? Is it minor? Is it happy? Is it sad? The answer is minor. That was a C minor chord. All right, moving on to number 3. Is this a major chord or is it a minor chord? Give me your best guess. The answer is major. That was a G major chord. Now we're going to move on to another chord, number 4. Is this major or minor? This is a minor chord, G minor. All right, here's our next chord. Is this minor or major? It's minor. That was an E minor chord. And for our next chord, major. A major. And another one. That was A minor. All right, here's another one. That was a major chord, G sharp major. Now let me give you one more. That was a minor chord. That was D sharp minor. But now, I'm going to change things up a bit. I'm going to play 2 scales for you. And I want you to tell me whether you think it's a major scale or a minor scale. And listen for the same properties you were before. Is it happy? Is it sad? Can you hear what the third is doing? And here's the first scale. So did that scale sound major or minor? That was a major scale. Now, what about this one? Is that a major scale or a minor scale? Does it sound happy or sad? I think it sounds kind of sad. I would say that was a minor scale. Now let me give you one more scale. Is that major or minor? That's a major scale. All right, I'm going to throw one more at you. This is a bit of a trick question. I'm going to tell you up front. What kind of chord is this? Is this major or minor? Guess what? It's neither. It exists between major and minor, between space and time. It actually doesn't even have a third at all in it. And I wanted to bring that up to hopefully further reinforce this idea that the third is what tells you whether something is major or minor. And this chord only has a first, fifth, and that root note again up the octave, and has no third at all. Therefore, it's neither major nor minor. And just so you know, that was called a power chord. A lot of people love it because it allows you to play over many chord progressions without having to worry about major or minor chords. So I hope that this helped strengthen your ear today and you learned a little something about major and minor chords. And again, with music, it's just about challenging yourself. It's okay if you didn't get everything right. The more you put yourself in these kinds of situations where you force yourself to use your ear to figure out what's going on in music, the stronger your ear will become over time. And of course, music is an auditory experience, so I think strengthening your ear is one of the most important things you can work on as a musician. So let me know down below how you remember the difference between major and minor chords. I hope that your ear and you have a wonderful day.